So there have been rumblings that they are going to be looking at creating a show around the character of Kirk from this version. And they're sort of, again, it's in a concept stage right now, as far as I'm aware. And this episode feels more than anything else like not only a return to like the original series sort of adventure of the week, but also it's a very clear episode where it takes the crew of the original Enterprise, puts them together in their own scenario on another ship, while Captain Pike's crew is on their ship, and we get to see these two crews going through a different version of a crisis. And like I said, it felt very much like one of those episodes where it's sort of like they're testing a spin-off series with the episode to see how the audience is going to react to this particular mashup of characters and go from there. I loved it. It was a great Adventure of the Week episode. It doesn't have a tie-in to anything else in the story so far. This is probably one of the few rare, like 100% standalone episodes that we've seen in Star Trek: Strange New Worlds to date. So let's talk the episode. Um, Essentially, what happens is we see young Kirk off on another ship, the Farragut, and he is serving in a command position, not as the captain, but he's under the captain, the number one. And while he's serving in the very intro of the episode, they are attacked by a big ship, this monstrous vessel that basically just completely annihilates their defenses, puts the captain into a coma, and he has to take command. There is an absolutely amazing visual shot as the Enterprise rolls in the wake of this and like shoots off the asteroids that are coming to collide with the floating ship, and then its deflectors are on and it sort of does this spin counter move and like pushes asteroids away and like blocks them from coming and attacking the other ship. It is a sweet VFX shot. And then from here, we get a bunch of the crew members from the Enterprise, aka the original crew members, all of these OGs from the original series, teleporting over to Farragut to help with the rescue mission. And then while this happens, the ship shows up again, pulls the Enterprise into it, and we get this separation of the crews. And then we have different things happening. On the outside, we have Captain Kirk and his crew with Spock and Uhura and everybody. Scotty, they're all on the Farragut trying to figure out how to get um, to the vessel that Pike and his crew are on, and they are in the depths of this vessel. Um, there's a variety of crises here. It doesn't really matter what they are, because honestly, it's just an Adventure of the Week episode, right? On the inside, um, the uh, the short version is that as they're inside of the ship, they see a bunch of other ships that have been like collected and are in the grips of these weird tendrils that have completely wiped out communications. They can't maneuver out. And our 5,000-year-old teacher lady uh, is like she does a slide. Is like, this is probably going to be the only time I have fond memories of living through the 1980s. And she goes and rummages through this box of stuff and pulls out some old-fashioned telephones with lines, old landlines, and they're going to use these to wire up around the Enterprise so that they can communicate with each other to hopefully use the thrusters to break free. My favorite part though was the Felix the Cat clock when she pulled it out and she was talking about how you used to give me fuzzy feelings and then you turned creepy, and she just chucks it across the room. I love her character. Um, and on the Farragut, we have Kirk and his crew essentially dealing with this crisis of trying to catch up, and the ship is completely, I mean, it's limping along, and we get a chance to see a different version of Kirk. So I think if you look back, and I love the Kelvin timeline films, but the Kelvin timeline films, we get a very dramatic Like we don't get to see the in between Kirk. He goes from being a cadet to being the captain, right? And here we see sort of this in between stage of him being forced to take command in an emergency situation, the self doubt that he has, the crew, the his commanding officer crew, some of them sort of doubting him, but also realizing that hey, he's under a lot of pressure and maybe we can help him out. And then Spock having this one-on-one with him that ultimately, you know, brings him to the forefront. And you sort of see, like this is the risk-taking young version of Captain Kirk, who is still green behind the ears and he still has a lot to learn, but he is willing to take control and to command the respect of his first officers as well as to just make decisions. And I think the coolest thing about this episode for me. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. Was the if this ends up going through and they do get their own spin-off show where they show like the in between like early stages of Captain Kirk's adventures with his crew, um, on their way to getting between here and the original series. I like the idea of the potential that they have to sort of fill in the blanks and go with a younger version of these beloved characters. Um, Ultimately, at the end of the day, um, there is a firefight with the ship, with the big creepy badass ship, and in the process of all of this happening, they do destroy the ship. It's based on Captain Kirk's um, command, and they blow it up. And when they blow it up, they realize that the crew members of the ship were all humans. And this is also something that Pike finds out at the last minute, because there's a sequence on the Enterprise when they're trying to escape and they're fighting with guys in suits, and he ends up like one of the guys is has him on the ground and has a blaster point at him and it doesn't shoot him, and he's like, why didn't you shoot me? And then they find one of the bodies laying on the ground and he takes the mask off of the spacesuit, and inside is a human being. And as this is revealed, we then get this story of a science vessel that took off in the times before First Contact. When things had gotten very bad on Earth, a group of scientists, the best and the brightest of humanity, decided to go out on this vessel. And this became a generational ship. And what we're seeing here are these 7,000 survivors of that original crew who have been living aboard this vessel, and it's just been accumulating other ships, and the people inside basically went crazy and became this, you know, I mean, we've seen science fiction versions of this before, like horror movies, so to speak. And in the aftermath of this, we have Kirk questioning his decision to blow up that ship because it had 7,000 human beings on board. And he has a heart to heart with Pike about the realities of command and sometimes having to make decisions that are gonna you have to live with those decisions for better or for worse for the rest of your life, and the importance of empathy, even for your enemies. It's a great one-on-one between two captains, and I think it's a great episode in showing how Kirk goes from being this wet behind the ears green character to what he becomes by the time we get to the original series. So I had a great time with this episode. Adventure of the week, nothing to tie it to anything else. Love to hear your thoughts. Drop them down below. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update, and we'll see you guys in the next one. And don't forget, I watch a lot of shows, we play a lot of games, we do a lot of stuff, movies and beyond. Check them all out. We'll see you tomorrow.